You know, Forsyth County reported a confirmed case of rabies last week, and we wanted to take a closer look and remind you to be mindful. And on that note, Charles Cahill is here with us this morning. He's a specialist with Forsyth County Department of Public Health, and he's joining us this morning to talk about rabies. Good morning, Charles. How you doing?
Hey, good morning. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, good to have you in. Well, let's talk about that case last week. Share what you can about what happened, and then we can go into the awareness.
Yeah, sure. So what had happened is on June 27th, we had two confirmed cases of two individuals being attacked in two separate locations, one in Old Salem and then one over near the Happy Hills Community Center. And animal control was called, and they were able to get the fox, and the fox was sent off for testing. And then I guess around the 1st of July is when we had the confirmation that the fox was rabid. And everyone was notified, and they had started treatment.
The rabies are not a surprise anymore, right? We know it's in communities. What can we do to kind of keep an eye out for things while people are out and about taking care of business or enjoying the outdoors?
It's just like we were talking about earlier, off air, I guess. It's the temperature's nice and everybody's getting out. Everybody wants to walk their pets and get out into nature and realize that we're actually in their habitat. And so our recommendation is to never approach wildlife, don't feed wildlife, whether or not it's cute, whether or not you're fascinated by them. Don't approach them, keep your pets away from them. The biggest takeaway would be also to keep your pets currently vaccinated against rabies.
Now, we heard during the media coverage, your coworker spoke about even being careful as you examine your pet if they have had an encounter with a suspected wild animal that may have rabies. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Because rabies is transmitted saliva primarily, and if there's even just a little bit of a contact, and your animal still might have the saliva from the animal, wild animal, on the fur or on the muzzle, then you can actually secondarily have contact with the virus. Use gloves. Be cautious. If you do inspect your animal, go ahead and wash your hands. Make sure you don't have any cuts that have been exposed to the animal while you're looking over them. Again, even if there's no bite wounds, even if there's no physical evidence that there has been an attack, if there is that contact, then you just need to be very cautious when you're looking over your animal, and then go ahead and check with your vet, make sure everything's up to date, and like I said, just wash your hands and just be cautious.
Charles Cahill is a specialist with Forsyth County Department of Public Health. He's with us on WTOB this morning talking about rabies. Rabies in humans is 100% fatal, so any physical encounter, we should seek medical attention pretty quickly, shouldn't we?
Oh, yes, sir. If you have had contact with a wild animal, or in some cases even maybe a wild domestic animal, then you need to contact a physician, your primary care, or talk to someone at urgent care, because if you do contract rabies, it is 100% fatal, like you mentioned. So it's something we do take very seriously with this. And if you do come in contact with it, and let's say the animal is tested positive, so we know for a fact the animal that you've had contact with had rabies, then it's just a series of treatments, a series of shots. You would start with on day 0, and then it's days 3, 7, and 14 after that.
I see. Well, that's not too bad. I mean, not like it was years ago, from what I understand.
Yeah, not too bad at all. Before it was a painful series of multiple shots in the abdomen, and it just, I think, fear of the shots was almost as much as fear of the animal. Yeah.
Right. Oh my goodness. Is there anything we can do around our homes to mitigate the chances of an encounter? I know we have developed our, land that was normally considered open and habitat for these animals. They're now developed, and so, as you said a minute ago, we're encroaching in their space as much as they are in ours, considering. Is there anything that we can do when we're out and around our home and things like that?
Yeah, sure. It's a great question. So one of the biggest things, again, we were talking about off air, is what raccoons like to do in the evenings. Everybody knows they're mischievous and they like to pull the lids off trash cans, or even you put your food out for your animal at night. That's just an open dish for any wildlife to come have a snack. So it would not feed your pets outside, keep your lids on your trash cans. And anything like that, and just be a little bit more aware when you're going outside, because again, like you had mentioned, we are in their habitat. So seeing a wild animal is not uncommon. Seeing a wild animal during the day is not uncommon. But it's just realizing that animal has the potential to have rabies, and contact with that animal is that's just something we try to avoid.
It's best to consider the animal a danger and then proceed from there.
Yes, sir, absolutely. We consider all, a lot of these animals we've talked about, we consider them rabid. That way we know if you have contact and the animal runs off, then we will go ahead and start talking to you about having the vaccination record checked on your animal, and discussion with you about having the rabies shots, because we do consider all wildlife potentially rabid.
How many people in the Department of Public Health with Forsyth County are engaged, and how many times during the week do you get calls periodically, or is it a lot more now than it was, back in the spring or in the wintertime?
Oh, yes, sir. So what happens is, again, we're all out and about, and there's going to be more exposure to wildlife. There's going to be more exposure to other people's pets. So it is a daily, communication with animal control, with our CD nurses, and sometimes it peaks in the summer. We'll get over 300 emails, just following up on bite cases, on following up on initial exposures. So it does definitely increase in the summer, but that doesn't mean rabies is more prevalent in the summer than it is in the winter. It's just we are actually outside having more contact with them.
So you get a call from someone or an email, and they say, we found this, what we think to be a rabid animal. You send somebody out and you're checking the area that the call came from. Do you have somebody that is actually like going out hunting down the animal that is considered to be rabid?
Oh, yes, sir. That's a great question. So the process would be anyone that have come in contact with a wild animal, or have come in contact with, again, back to a domestic wild animal or something of that nature, they would need to call animal control. And it's the non-emergency sheriff's department number. If I may throw that number
Sure.
out, it's area code 336-727-2112. And that is the non-emergency number. And any sort of exposure, animal control triggers the investigation. So they're the ones that will go out. They were the ones that interview the people that have their exposure, and then try to find either it could be a wild dog, or any wild animal. They would be the ones to actually go out and look. And then they were on a regular rotation to go out and try to locate the animal, especially if there's been contact.
We appreciate you coming in today. Great information. Is there somewhere on the Forsyth County website that you can direct people to get more information?
So if we go to the Animal Services website, they have an updated rabies portion of their website that you can click on. It shows the current number of cases, and then just gives just a bit of information on what to look for, where to be cautious, and then some information about some vaccination clinics.
Charles, we appreciate you coming in. This is great information.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Charles Cahill is a specialist with Forsyth County's Department of Public Health, and we're talking about rabies, something that you might want to consider as you're spending some time outside.